Hi Pisces. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. All right, 2022, or so they say. It's a 6, right? It's a good number. About balance, right? It's also an upside down 9, which is the farthest you can go without becoming a 0 again, right? All right. Let's see here. Before we jump into your cards, which we will go month to month, and I'll have a timestamp below in the description for each month. So if you want to reference later, you may. Perhaps it'll help you. I've been trying to make it a bit more streamlined over these last few years, so I hope that it helps you in some way or another. So everyone received 4 groupings of 2-word phrases. Yours are this: watchful warrior, watchful warrior. So there's an observancy, right? Non-reactionary, but because the warrior's with that, the warrior knows that every moment could be their last moment. So really looking at how would I like to behave in this circumstance, in this scenario, in this situation, with that person, etc., and taking a moment to, almost step outside of yourself to be like, okay, what would you like to do with that? Is obviously the a premise here. Then we have shifting spaces, but it was also sort of 2 spaces or shifting spaces. I guess there's 2 spaces shifting. Which also I see something, those 2 spaces coming together too, like something bridging together. Then we have solid ground, which is kind of cool. It's almost like the 2 spaces I'm almost seeing as if 2 people are building a bridge on either side of a river and like trying to meet in the middle, finding that common ground or solid ground. And the last phrase is healing hearts, which I really like for you, for yourself as an individual, for that which you connect to, and just in general, as this is a sort of collective reading as well. That's a really beautiful thing, So let's go month to month. January for Pisces. Wow. Lilith and the Empress. Interesting. Well, this is sort of like Lilith and Eve mixed together. I heard don't start the year out with drama, please. Trying to use the watchful eyes to see what's going on here. Well, the Lilith is about a visceral response to something. And the Empress is also about the body, which is sort of like, well, I see start the year with respecting your body. That's very important. Also, the Empress is absolutely in trust of God, right? God actually put her here to protect her from the dragon, right? But Lilith is can be mad at God because, basically, Empress is accepting of fate. Lilith is sort of wants to deny it, wants to be stubborn sometimes. At least this is the story that I'm seeing. So this is the beginning of the year. Well, I heard, why is this like this? 6 of Cups. Well, what do you want from your one-on-one partnerships this year, Pisces? Is there anywhere where you need to respect yourself more? Is there anywhere where you could extend more respect, love, care, nurture towards others? Oh, Venus is also in retrograde during January, the whole month of January, so they say. So I guess in another way, because this Empress is ruled by Venus, it's kind of like if there's been any repressed desires, or like I guess the past could creep up. Let's see if that's healthy. Just a second. King of Cups and the High Priestess. Well, only you know. You know whether it's healthy or not. So I guess this beginning of this year starts really, really powerfully. But it's almost like, which side are you on? There's a little bit of, I guess these are two sort of different spaces. And just a minute, these are all really trippy cards to me right now. It's not like speaking English. It's well, I guess for some of you, and it's going into some drama. It's like maybe you're thinking about like an ex of yours, or you're thinking about love. I guess you're supposed to, in a way, is to think about love, to think about family, to think about you as a woman, as a man, like, what are you desiring? Like, maybe you need to forgive, go into and forgive someone in this space. Because again, it's like, this is all trust. This is no trust, right? You're kind of starting the year like that. Or there's a lesson about it. I haven't pulled any extra cards like this for other people. Interesting. I guess we'll leave that. I want to shuffle these, have new energy. So I guess you have to decide which way you want to go. And I suppose this year really does start with faith. You know what I mean? Maybe there's also a bit like people have differing points of view, perhaps. Like maybe someone has like repressed sexual desire too, or attraction towards someone, or there's like something there that I don't know. This is about passion too, because the Empress is about creation, right? So you just want to make sure, let's, there's almost 8 minutes in here. This is obviously it's a very contemplative time for you. So please sit quietly. Watch whatever's going on in this month. You know what I mean? Take a more observant stance and realize that you're trying to, again, you're taking two, because Lilith is about being a very independent person. It's not being codependent. It's having good intuition, understanding like your own visceral, or like your body better. You know what I mean? Trusting your body, and also trusting your own, like being aware of your own shadow, or like your own wild nature, but then also remembering that like you want to respect yourself, right? Because we all can go too far with certain things. Maybe there's also some sort of like with this Venus retrograde for some of you, and I know this is Pisces, you're the collective, so we'll take it. It's like if there's been any sexual trauma, or like trauma with children, trauma with spouses, any kind of stuff like that, again, that's been repressed. Retrograde. I feel like when Venus is in retrograde, you can take that and find where you want to go from here. Like if you're married, what do you want out of your marriage? If you're single, what are you wanting if you're not romantically involved, would you like to be? How do you see that? Do you believe in marriage still, especially say if you're divorced? If you're in your 20s, like, do you want to be a mother? You know, do you want to be do you want to be part of, do you want to make a family? You know what I mean? Do you, again, I see believe in marriage. And I guess marriage overall is about dedication to something and not leaving because something gets boring. Do you know what I mean? Like not giving up so easily on something. It's about dedicating yourself, right? And also being able to talk it out when things get tough. If you can't talk it out, if it's always a joke, you know what I mean, or what have you, then it's not going to go very far. And I see that the Empress trumps Lilith here. Not because Eve is against Lilith, but because the Empress is the one that is love and trust. You know, which comes through, well, being patient. Okay, interesting. Let's go into February. That's really long, Pisces. All right, so big deal there. February. Okay, so I guess it's good to actually sort of have some hard conversations with yourself. You know what I mean? Because in February, you have 9 of Cups with Athena. Wow. So Athena is about overcoming obstacles, right? I would also look at Lilith and Pallas in your chart if you know how. I also see that 3rd, 9th house is beautiful because it's like the god and the goddess, right? The moon and the sun there. Okay, let's move along. February. Well, you're feeling a whole heck of a lot better. I feel like you resolve a problem. It's like if you tap into that emotional space that, you know, not again that you're trying to start the year in the shadow or like start the year with going over negative things, but it's like ensuring what you want positively because you've already experienced, most of you, a good chunk of what, say, was dark, for instance, right? Or challenging, like you've had a lot of experiences here, so now you know better about certain things. You've gained certain wisdom, right? Inner wisdom and faith. Pallas is also, Athena is also Zeus's daughter, right? Your ruler's daughter. So, oh, Lilith is overly sexual. Athene is a virgin. It's like there's a lot of something. There's 2 spaces here. But there's 4 points that are coming together. I do feel like this is a really nice time. You can overcome anything in this time like you're comfortable. You're not afraid of anything. You weren't even afraid of anything in January. It was just some sort of looking at the other side of you, you know, again, like being aware of what your downfalls are, right? Everybody has weak spots. If you don't know what they are, then you can't reinforce. They're unable to be reinforced. And in Saturn time, that's very, especially Capricorn, is connected to you, really looking at that positively. You know what I mean? All right, let's keep moving because we spent a lot of time in January. So March. Wow, Chiron and the High Priestess. Well, that is beautiful. Well, it's like you receive these keys because of trust. And I'm also seeing this High Priestess as bridging 2 things also. Like finding again the center point or the common ground, the solid ground within it. Only you hold the key to certain things, and some other people have keys I heard that you need. or have given you. It's like other people have already, there's people in your life, that experiences that you've had again, and maybe it has to do with people you've had sex with. You know what I mean? That you were intimate with. You've been learning a big lesson with Scorpio and Libra. You know, like these are intimate, connective signs. So it's like you've been carrying around a key, but now you finally know what it's for. Also, whatever because Lilith can be challenging in one's chart for certain. You know, it can interrupt, for instance, Pallas Athene, it's like you become too independent. You know what I mean? There's way too much independence, or it's like so much of a certain level of something that you have a hard time relating to others, right? But then Chiron comes in to help heal that wound, whatever it is. So that I heard you don't feel so alone. And then you get to choose. You have this, I see you have this time to choose. But this March is definitely a time to go in. It's quiet. It's a quiet time. Quiet, quiet, quiet. I would definitely look at your Chiron as well. It's interesting you have these sort of extra stars that we see now as extra stars known to the folks, right? So common knowledge here. Well, Chiron's giving you a gift. But you have to go through the shadow to get into the light. Let's see about April. Okay, Mercury and Saturn. So you have 3 majors right now. So this goes back up into January. I guess this is kind of a similar conversation. Maybe you are tempted to in relation to something that you were meant to think about or had been thinking about over the last even couple months, couple years, whatever, like something, even the last couple weeks, in ways of creation. Like how and what are you wanting to create? Because one could talk about what's, this is confusing. It keeps flipping. Retrograde again. Okay, some say that Jupiter's going through your sign, right? Which is about an expansion in Pisces energy for everyone. It's good for that to not go too fast, because that's almost as if the tide is pulling out into sea. Do you know what I mean? Like pulling, it's just like, or the ocean is like too, like, you know, like going up onto the shore. Like it's going where it doesn't want to necessarily go. And there's not a lot of control in it, because who can control the ocean? Do you know what I mean? But the ocean within, the waters of within you, which I guess has a lot to do with you talking about the shadow. I know this seems more, Pisces readings are always so floaty to me. It's hard to like pin into these little time frames, because they seem to float anyhow. Hold on, tobacco does ground your energy. Just a second. Hold on, Pisces. Okay, maybe that's the thing. You get in your head, or does it make sense? Mercury could be in retrograde now. I can't remember everything this year at this moment. No duh. So maybe that's the thing too. What did we just do? It's like you realize what the feeling is. If you're uncertain about it, or it doesn't feel grounded, or it feels a little bit off, realize what you need. And then I do see sort of, we just did like a little walk there, a little walkabout. Like maybe that'll help. You figure out more about what's going on. Now, it's interesting. Now this is Mercury in your chart. You know what's interesting to me, in addition, is this deck isn't necessarily just stars. There's like houses, signs, whatever. This is all stars, though, for you. Okay, I guess in a plain sense, in April, there could be a lot of communication at work. I also see it's wise to don't talk any smack about your boss. Don't talk smack about your colleagues. You know what I mean? Like, especially when it comes to that, even someone who's going through something hard, please don't. I would also say with Mercury and the Devil, it's like, you know, if you're watching the news, or it's even like Instagram or Facebook or anything, or even a conversation with your friends, it's like your lover even, it's like, is it positive? Maybe some of you need to talk to somebody that's close to you about addiction, perhaps, or like about habits, or what the... Like maybe there's a problem that needs resolving, but it needs to have a conversation about it. But it's not a you blank, blank, blank. It's a us. It's an us thing, or a we thing, right? It's wanting to work together. If you are a person that likes to research, well, whatever, you like news, whether this is alternative or mainstream or whatever, wherever you receive your news from, please ask yourself whether it is, you know, is it opening up a place to make you stronger and more aware so that it removes fear? Or is it trying to create more fear? Right? This is a good question. And even when I'm talking about that, my heart got tight. You know what I mean? So like, you're going to know, you started with Lilith and the Empress. Again, it's like you're going to know in your body what's really real, and you have to trust it. And actually, I want to back up for a second. Whether you're a man or a woman, Lilith and the Empress also could represent abortion, or something like, which I guess is choosing something, and then if you abort the mission, right, you're not finishing something. So maybe you want to start the year with, again, like, what is it that you are working on now, that you're still in the process of, that you want to work towards more, put creative energy and love into, so that you can build upon it? Where is it that you need help from others? Where is it that you could do a little bit more for yourself to adjust? And then I saw the word independent and then group. Okay. And I guess please also watch your I don't know, the amount of communication too, like telephone, text, all this internet that kind of stuff. Like, please, there's something to, you want to kind of back up from that a little bit. Yes, make sure what's draining your energy. Okay, let's move along. May, Pisces. There we go. There's another Major. Wow. Waxing gibbous and the Fool. Awesome. Okay, so you go from the 15 to the 0. Okay, this is part of those two spaces coming together and making a bridge. Well, you obviously go from one place to another quite quickly. So I guess remember that too. That sometimes, you know, well, we have like hard days and soft days, right? We have like hard months or a lot to do in a certain time frame, and then but it always shifts, you know. But I would say with these majors, January, March, April, and May, I guess April is the hardest one because it's Saturn. It's like the most. It's the hard, right? Saturn is hard. Well, I see you have to face something with conviction. This goes back into faith also. Because the Empress trusts, the High Priestess trusts, the Fool trusts. The Devil card doesn't trust anything. Right? It's scared. It doesn't. Interesting. So there's some sort of resolve for something. May. Some kind of refinement. Maybe you finally make a decision. You also free yourself from something that maybe you've been thinking about for a while, or you've been trying to figure out for a while, not only in your head, but also in your heart. And this goes back into that healing hearts. And something about nurture too. It's sort of like loving your pain. Do you know what I mean? Or appreciating something like that. It's not, that's not happening now. It's about the perspective of when you tap into it. You go, because the Fool's kind of looking back into the past a bit. And it's like, oh, interesting. It's like looking up at Mercury and Chiron and Pallas and Lilith. And it's sort of like, I guess there's something new with them. And then I saw that word again, refinement. But there's just a few more steps to go, right? Because if you were just in the darkness and then you came out into the light, which you are, then this is kind of like, take it one step at a time. Because you just took a big jump in itself. You don't want in May to take like another huge leap, because there's still something, again, that needs to be refined, or something that is aligning and putting itself in the right groove. Okay, so you want to think about it a little bit more, right? And if you did make any resolves, again, in April, like looking at challenges and being like, okay, I want to talk about this. I want to approach this again, like not letting things just slide, but addressing them, which we talked about all last year. So if you're, good job. This is sort of you learning the lesson of this too, and being aware, like, okay, yeah, today is hard, or no, I don't like that, or yes, this is acceptable, or no, thank you, right? Whatever. And knowing that your level of faith, like what you have in yourself for light, and wherever you think that light comes from, makes such a big difference. Such a big difference. And I guess remember that people are always telling you, Pisces, who it is that they are by what they talk about you too. Do you know what I mean? Okay, let's see June. Jupiter and the Page of Pentacles. Well, awesome. You learned some sort of great lesson here. Somebody has your back in this time. You feel supported. There's a lot of gratitude here. It's like learning. You're excited what you just learned about. You're really excited what you just learned about. And you know what happened there is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now we're on 6. We're halfway through the year. That beginning was good. And it's all yellow. Can you see this? It's like yellow and black, but mostly yellow. Let me try to see if I can show you. Shucks. Can you see that? Oh. It's yellow. It's like, there's so much yellow, which is it's your solar plex, right? This is your chi. This is your willpower. Oh, Mars is also retrograde, which sometimes they can say Mars rules this space. Again, it's the will to do, to achieve. And again, it's your power. So, but with it being in retrograde, it's kind of a softer power, right? Things are still expanding. You're still learning. And this is helping you a lot. I also feel like this is when the bridge actually touches. Like the 2 points come together. And this has a lot to do with your own morals too. Like the goals and the morals of what you are working with. June's also looking at July. Let's see. Yep. 6 of Wands and the Aries card. Awesome. Yes. Let's look at that again for good measure. There's Aries constellation. Uranus right now is actually like kind of here. So, July. Just a second. Well, learning so much in June, right? You really do learn a lot. Oh my goodness. It's huge, but it's not exactly like an epiphany. It's because you took effort to want to start going the other. It's like you're trying to you go across you finally get to the middle, you go across the bridge, and then you get to experience this whole other side of something and like see it from a different perspective. And I see that multiple people have similar goals and they're working towards it, and it's helpful for everyone. Now, July. Well, with 6 of Wands, very successful because of your efforts. Your physical, literal actions. This also has to do with Mars. But 6 of Wands is sort of like you just achieve so much. So you actually are, whatever you put your time and energy into June, July is like, good job. You really, and I saw people clapping, like it's a really, and I do feel as if Mars is retrograde in this time. So there's something here where it's not about overly pushing anything. It's about controlling yourself correctly. Do you know what I mean? Like approaching things as they are, when they are, and dealing with that I heard with good measure. Okay, August. Okay, 2 of Pentacles and the Stellium. I haven't pulled this card yet. Cool. Okay, so, well, if you have a Stellium in the 2nd house, a lot of people in the 2nd house. Okay, remember, we'll have a little astrological lesson. A stellium is where there are, and they also anciently used to call this, this is also called a conjunction, regardless of the degrees. But anything that is in the same sign in the same house is a stellium, is a conjunction, 2 or more. Wherever, most people have a stellium somewhere. it's a bigger lesson to learn. Like it pushes it. So if you have a group of stars in your map, pay attention to that, because I guess that may be feel a little bit off, or be testing you in a kind of way to your own creative process. And I see, remember, March and April are kind of, there's a change in there. It has to do with Scorpio, maybe the lesson you've been learning with Scorpio, because you start out with desires, and then in between here is, so I guess, what are you desiring, Pisces, and why? Really. Not just in this very moment, that's good to know, but also in the long term, right? Empress is about slow growth, right? It's Taurus energy, it's Libra energy. It's like, what do you want to build in yourself? What do you want to build with what are you creating with others? So maybe you question your talents a little bit here, where you're like, you know, because in a stellium, or when there's a group in a house in your chart, you can't see in there. Like the stars can't really see each other. It's hard to kind of reflect in that space. And so maybe you want to go to the opposing house as well. I guess this is also some sort of concentration of something, Libra. I heard a conversation and a concentration of something. I guess this goes back into February of that inner wisdom, that peaceful place that you found, that I guess you also want to pay attention to your finances here. Maybe you want to shift some money around, or maybe you just want to look at what you can do with what you have. I also feel like there is a lot of power in this time. So maybe you have a lot on your plate because you just did so, because you could have created something awesome too that's really desired again, and because of that you're like, whoa, I have a lot to, like, now you have to manage it in a way. So maybe you need help from somebody else too. A lot of these cards are very independent. Just a second. Please leave a message after the tone. Maybe that's a thing too, is maybe because of this concentration, you may need to kind of, again, see what you have, because I just pulled the Six of Wands with it. It's like, see what you have on your plate and then what you can handle. Maybe you need to shut certain things off to be able to, I heard, get the right temperature with something. You're also adjusting something in your second house, which I do like reinforcing it again, which has a lot to do with your talents, has a lot to do with your contracts with things, right? Okay. September. The world in the South Node. Wow. Well, I guess the world is giving you a gift, in a way. Excuse me. Like, I guess there's a worldly lesson going on, or maybe you finally connect something to worldly, bigger kinds of deals. Like bigger, where the lesson you're learning in yourself also connects to something that's so much bigger than you. And so I heard, don't think that you have to handle that all on your own. Maybe that'll help you to realize that you're not alone. You also have another major here, right? We go from the Fool all the way to the World again. So here's another big jump. You're fixing something with your South Node too, which has to do with karma, right? In the world to me is about fixing. It's also about being protected. Queen of Pentacles. So I see, don't be afraid of losing anything. September. Even that which we have less than, right? Sometimes K2 can like flush something out, but it can also give great gifts that way, right? You have less of something. It's Scorpio kind of energy exalted there, so they say. When something is, I heard refined, or it's almost like taking the, well, I saw the word again. It's like refinement. It's like it's shifting through all of these little layers so that something becomes clearer and clearer. And maybe this is also not being affected, especially if any of you who have Chiron and Pisces. I know a lot of people here, a lot of people I work with also have Chiron and Aries. Either way, your neighbors, it's also not being so affected by the world in like a sensitive way where it overwhelms you. You have more of a protective, like, spiritual shield. Do you know what I mean? You have a more, your soul feels more protected. Your heart feels more protected, but not because you're scared, not because you're not wanting to connect, but because you're just understanding like what's yours or not. Now, of course, are we all connected? Sure. But the reality of like when you're interacting with things, like knowing like, well, is this good for me? Is it not? You know? October, your reading is going to be long. New moon and the Four of Pentacles. Well, this is a good time to set some intentions about home. This is a good time to set some intentions about your physical security, right? I feel like you are solid with something. So like, what are you trying to plant now? Although this is technically in a way an autumn time, but I see that it's kind of like, maybe this has to do more with projects, or again, like you sort of have a blank page here. So, and you have a lot of energy or resources that you can work, things you can work with, that you literally physically like have, that you can put together. Like what is that? And I feel like this is a lot of inspiration too. And you feel really solid about it. Yep. Two of Cups. So don't forget to open. You're also meant to open up, right? Emotionally. But you could be feeling a little bit guarded. I feel like Taurus had the same card. November, let's see. 10th house with the Ace of Wands, or the Queen of Wands. That's awesome for work. You could get a promotion. You're doing very well either way. Like you're feeling good about it. It's not about the status of it. It's like the energy behind what you do. Now, of course, I suppose she is a queen, and the 10th house can be the public, or like your public image, right? Like when your image, meaning the way people see you out in the world. Well, I see dress nice, right? Dress. I see be yourself. Like understand your own authority. I feel like your discipline, the way the discipline of you, or like what you've been, how you've been trying to discipline yourself, right? Become a disciple, become integral, become all that you can be. Is this your first? No, we have the Six of Wands and then the Queen of Wands. That's awesome. Well, she's looking over at December. Let's see December. Waning Gibbous and the King of Cups. You had the waxing and then the waning, right? Yep. Waxing, November, October, September, August, July, June, May. May and December. So, Pisces. Well, here's you, right? This is you and other people also looking at the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, having your own perspectives about it, but sitting in your own chair about it, but looking at the same thing. And they see, don't worry whether that's like different or not. No. Just realize where you stand. I guess how you can be the most of service here too, December, is to listen and to be all of the beautiful emotional parts that you are. You know, compassionate, empathetic, considerate, forgiving, understanding. I keep seeing these words too. It's like releasing gratitude. The moons also in May and December, I guess, are bigger. Maybe you want to pay attention to those. They could be emotional for you. So remember that to have the harmony you desire, you have to have good, you got to know what you desire and why, and then also have good boundaries, and put in the effort and be honest, right? There's a need to self-motivate. But also not push yourself so hard that you are going beyond your own limitations. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't want to burn yourself out, Virgo, and the Nine of Wands. No. Because I heard it ages you anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 majors, so that breaks down to the Heirophant. So you're not supposed to, whatever the changes are, it's not like you're reinventing the wheel. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like keeping to a structure that's already been, but again, refining it. There's definitely a big jump. May to September is a big jump. That's the Fool to the World. So things may go a little fast in there. Like the energy may be fast. So I guess you'll have to perhaps make decisions a little quicker, or things may be happening a little quicker, but that may feel like that. But remember not to rush, but also not to stagnate. I know it seems simple. It's like be in the middle, right? Libra lesson, be in the middle, but there's something about that. Okay. Yes, because then what happens is the emotions are placid, right? The reflection is clear. I heard it's not coming out of fear, right? There we go. It's honest, it's loving, and you realize, I heard, that you're never alone. Thank you for being here, Pisces. I do thank you for a wonderful year last year, and I wish you the best year this year. Full of creativity and healing hearts on solid ground. I really like that. Please take care of yourselves. I thank you so much for all your support. I really, really do. Any of you are still here, it's a long yearly reading. I guess it's 12 months, 12 little mini readings. So here we go. But I do hope this was of service. Again, the timestamps will be below for each month, so you can cross-reference if you like. If you'd like to also see what else I offer, if you're still here, you would definitely be those folks. Hi. Yes, I have a Patreon page, and it's really fun over there. There's lots of different things like herbal remedies and songs and timeless readings. I'm also decided to do astrological forecast each month while we reference the Theramus, and I figured that would be a nice way to learn also astrology. Kind of see a little bit ahead, but not necessarily define ourselves that way. So anyway, if you've already been over there, thank you so very much. If you would like to check it out, please feel free. Either way, I'll see you next time. Peace out.